Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Plant-Based Morning Show. It is Tuesday, April 25th. This show, as always, is presented by Compliment, lovecompliment.com, so you can find all our good plant-based supplements and I don't know what you'd call them. Interventions, maybe. We try not to call them all supplements. Anyway, that's who presents this show. As always, no change there yet. I'm bringing in Doug on the Instagram, and we'll see what's going on. We've got a fun show today. We're talking about some interesting stuff. The first thing we got is the champagne of beers issue, a trademark issue. We love those lawsuits here for some reason. Here's Doug.
Hey, Matt. Good morning. I think we need to work on your pitch for Compliment. I think we should sign you up with somebody who's good at that kind of thing. And
yeah, or the brand, whoever writes copy for the brand should write copy that I would say.
Maybe that would be a good idea. If only we knew who that was.
Right. Yeah. So, but you're right. We need to do that. The thing is, nobody's here when I say that. It's just filling time at the beginning. So that's
they listen to it on the podcast, right? Or do you cut that out?
The podcast people get that. But yeah, I don't know. We really need a way to fill the music thing we were trying. It didn't really work.
No, it didn't.
We need something that would just kind of let this thing sit here, let people come in for 10 minutes, and then we begin the show. But I haven't figured that out yet.
Maybe we should have somebody from the Discord can tell jokes or something. A little stand-up comedy, warm up the audience a little bit. Know what they do on TV recordings and stuff. Have somebody come out.
Oh, okay, yeah,
warmed up.
That makes sense. I didn't realize that, but I think it sort of sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. Well, how are you, Matt? Happy Taco Tuesday.
That's right. Not for me. For me, it's
oh yeah.
I think I have chickpea and chive soup, and then I have bell pepper, red pepper, and onion soup are my two meals today, and they're both just powders that you mix into water. I think about 120 calories each or something. So no big tacos, unfortunately.
They sound delicious, Matt.
And they're okay. They're just not. It's just not a real meal, you know. But it's okay. It's doing pretty well. As I told you before the show, I'm doing surprisingly well. I think I don't remember when it really gets hard. I've only done it a couple of times, but usually by day 4, like you're definitely having trouble recalling words and things. I haven't really had that yet. I don't know. Yesterday I went to the soccer field with Holden and did a little practicing with him, where I just kind of kicked balls that he would then try to hit as if it was a runner he was trying to get a pass to. And then after that, I was really kind of craving like sweet food. I ended up eating my dessert, which is this little tiny chocolate Rice Krispie kind of bar thing. I ended up eating that really early because I just felt like I was like blood sugar deficit or something. So
is your wife doing it with you?
Yep. She's doing it as well. She's more a veteran than I am. She's done these 6 or 7 or 8 times. I don't know.
Okay.
So it's good. Tomorrow, I think you may notice a difference, but I'm hoping today that nobody will. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
But I go to a soccer game tonight. Charlotte FC is playing in the U.S. Open Cup, not their league. They're playing in the U.S. Open Cup, which is, for those who don't know much about soccer, like in Europe, every country has their own league, but then they have their Open Cup, which means all the teams in the country, all the clubs are eligible to enter this thing. Maybe you have to be of some level, but it's not just like the first league. So you get the first league teams playing against second and third division teams in the early rounds, and usually by the end, it's down to a couple of the top teams that you would expect to be there, but sometimes there's a dark horse in the race who still stays in that long. So anyway, this is an early round game. So they're playing a team called Tormenta from Georgia, not an MLS team, lower level team, and it's not in the stadium. It's at like a smaller kind of stadium that's different. So it'll be fun. It's always fun to watch these games on TV in European games. So it'll be fun to actually be at one like this. So no beer, no snacks or anything like that. No tailgating. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Shouldn't be too hard.
Nice. That'll be fun. Is Charlotte FC any good this year?
Not really very good. They got their first home win this weekend. I think they have like 2 wins and 4 or 5 losses and 3 ties or something. Not really very good. Rebuilding.
I'm getting a notification that looks like one of your streams is having connection issues. I'm not sure if it's me or you. I can hear you fine through Instagram, but just wanted to call it out. If someone could let us know in the YouTube comments if there's an issue.
Yes, please do. I see you as blurry on my screen, Doug, but otherwise I hear you fine.
Let's see. We got some comments here. Good morning, everybody. Lady draws a lot.
Artist, I guess.
Says, I've been having compliment chocolate protein in my oatmeal for the past couple weeks, and it is by far the best I've ever used. No lie, you guys don't pay me to say these things.
Look at that. That's what we need. More of that. User-generated content. Yeah.
Yes.
We need to
Thank you, Lady draws a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's amazing to hear. The chocolate protein really is delicious. We invented the whole protein to not have anything in it, and the original tasted like nothing, and still tastes like nothing. But if you put it with water, it's not good because it's meant to be in a smoothie or something. But the chocolate just has a very rich, good, delicious chocolate aroma and flavor, and it's natural and all that. So that's a good protein powder. I agree with that.
We make chocolate pancakes almost every weekend, and they are so good.
Yeah, good.
Let's see. Aisha says she again was asking what it is you're doing. You didn't say. It is the fasting mimicking diet.
Yeah, it's called Prolon, and it is a fasting mimicking diet where for 5 days you do something like a fast. You eat 800 calories most of the days. It does contain honey, which is the bars that it has have honey in it, which I don't like. Wish I could avoid that somehow, but just one of those personal health decisions. I said this to me is more important than having the vegan label, at least for this period while I'm doing it. So yeah, there you go. But it's I don't know. I always like it. It's a good program. Feels like a good reset. Nice thing to do once or twice a year. And it gets tough, but so far it's been easy.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. She says by nothing, because I said the protein powder tasted like nothing. She means I should have said versatile. Yes, it's versatile. It's flexible. It goes anywhere because a transparent flavor profile allows it to go anywhere. It doesn't taste like nothing.
Matt. You surely you've read enough of my emails to know that that's the word we like to use when it comes to chocolate protein.
What is it? You say versatile?
Yeah, it's the most versatile protein powder on the market.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't read too many of those, believe it or not.
Nah, I don't believe that. I wouldn't either. No, just kidding. All of our emails are great. You should always read a compliment email. You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Doug. So what's going on today? Anything new in your life right now before we jump into some of the things we have in store?
I have something new I'll share about my dinner last night. I'd love to know what other people. We used to always ask what people ate for dinner, and I love that. Maybe the Discord kind of serves that purpose, but I would love if anyone in the comments wants to share what they had for dinner last night, let us know.
You're right. It's good. I did get recipe ideas that way too. So yeah, keep that going.
We did the cauliflower rice from Trader Joe's. It's like frozen cauliflower rice.
That's in our one of our articles today.
Oh, well, there you go.
Of course, you know that because you prepared thoroughly.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, of course I knew that.
Okay. Was it chickenless riced cauliflower stir fry? That's what's in our article.
I don't. That does not sound right.
Okay.
No.
Just plain old cauliflower rice.
It's just plain old cauliflower rice. We made our own stir fry with it.
Okay.
Or Katie did. She cooked last night, but it was delicious, and it was super simple. A bunch of vegetables and this cauliflower rice and a peanut sauce, a homemade peanut sauce. And man, it was just really good. I don't know why I never think to get cauliflower. I've had it before, but I never think to seek it out. But I was a fan of that.
I've had that a few times. Maybe Chipotle has offered that at some point. Did they used to have like a premium upcharge kind of deal where you could get a special? I think they did, where you could get a cauliflower rice. I like cauliflower things. Like the cauliflower pizza crust, I think is amazingly good. Did you notice, was the whole meal just like lacking in satisfaction as a result? Because I could see how one bite of that would be good. No, just
I actually thought it was great. And what was one thing that was kind of unusual is she combined it all into like the stir fry thing, right? So instead of like having a bed of rice and then putting the vegetables and tofu on top, it was like all one big dish. And I don't know. I thought it was fantastic.
Wow, good to know. I mean, I think that's a great swap if it's not much of a trade-off in flavor. White rice.
Yeah.
I mean, rice in general, you get the arsenic concern, and white rice also just very very simple carbohydrate that I don't think we need too often. So that's a good swap. I like it.
Yeah. So over on Instagram or on YouTube, I guess, Lindsay Morgan says that it was my husband's birthday, so we made homemade pizzas and had dairy-free ice cream. Lindsay,
Wow.
I'd love to know what toppings you threw on there. That sounds great. Let us know what toppings you had. Aisha says, this morning I had some almond tortillas. Love a tortilla.
What is an almond tortilla? Never heard of that.
Maybe almond butter and a tortilla.
Ah, okay, maybe.
Be my guess.
Not almond flour making a tortilla.
Having dates and peanut butter as a snack right now. Just had apple peanut butter as my little pre-show snack.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Anne-Marie has had Indian chili recipe from Whole Food Plant-Based Group I belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah made a Cuban black bean soup. Cuban black bean soup, not a Cuban sandwich, which I thought. Cuban black bean soup, and had it with plantain chips. Sounds great.
I have a fantastic Cuban sandwich recipe from Terry Hope Romero's book. I think it's called Viva Vegan.
Uh-huh.
I'm not positive that's what it is. I think it is. There's a Cuban sandwich. We make it like once a year. It has vegan ham. You get seitan. You marinate that seitan in the mojo sauce, vegan cheese, mustard, pickles, Cuban bread, and it's just delicious. And it's just all fake plant-based foods, but it's just a great representation of those foods.
Love it. Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. The verdict is in, or the information is in. Lindsay says Miyoko liquid mozzarella. I need to try that. Everyone seems to be talking about it. I've never had it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Broccoli, grape tomatoes, olives, and mushrooms. Broccoli on a pizza. Interesting.
It used to be a popular thing, like a Sicilian kind of pizza with a thick crust and broccoli on it. I used to see that around, but I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I forgot. Neil's looking out for you, Matt. I totally forgot about this when I started talking about food. This would be torture for Matt hearing about everyone's food. I don't know. Is it bad?
No, it's fine. I mean, it is a little bit torturous, but it's okay. The whole thing is torturous. Just thinking about food. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Maybe I should lean into this a little bit more. You've been torturing me for the last 2.5 weeks about alcohol. So
no, just for the weekends I've done that, not the weeks. Okay, we should probably get started soon. Katie C says, "How does the liquid mozzarella work? It cooks up into a solid." Yes, that's exactly right. It cooks up into the same consistency as melted mozzarella, and it's very good. It's pretty good. It's not quite as like cultured tasting as doesn't this depth of flavor that I would expect from a mozzarella. Maybe even if you buy Miyoko's mozzarella, although that stuff's not that tasty either. But I've made a few with Miyoko's recipes, and that has a very good, rich flavor. So it's always a little bit disappointing, I guess. I want it to taste as good as it looks, but no, a very convenient, good thing if you can get it. Okay, good. Well, that is a nice little introduction to the show. I like it. Oh, so Aisha said, did you read this, Doug? Almond flour tortillas by Siete brand. They actually are almond flour tortillas.
Oh.
Are you going to switch to almond chips from corn chips?
No.
Not gonna do it.
Okay. I don't eat corn chips for nutritional value.
No. Okay. Good. It's like cycling. You don't just as long as it's a hobby and you just do it for fun. Don't lie to yourself and say it's healthy. Then you're good. All right.
Champagne and beers, Matt. This is
fun.
That I sent over to you. I happened to find was the from NPR. The headline is "The Champagne and Beers Gets Crushed in Belgium."
Yes, it would have been good. I wish I'd seen it yesterday because we were talking about lawsuits and things like that with the controversial fast food things. So the story here is. I mean, you can sort of imagine it from the headline, right? They say champagne of beers in the slogan. I guess on the can it says that, right?
We didn't say Miller High Life. Yeah.
People know that. People know what the champagne of beer.
Not everybody.
No.
Right. So it's Miller High Life, the logo, and then below it's a little slogan that says champagne of beers.
All right. Do you know why it's called that? I mean, I saw an explanation here. They said their crystal clear look or whatever, and it just seemed but like. That's always been like bottom tier of the beer choices, right?
Yeah, but they probably had that slogan since it was not bottom tier of the beer choices, right? I mean, a lot of those like Pabst Blue Ribbon, maybe it won a Blue Ribbon 50 years ago, 60 years ago, but I'm not going to win any Blue Ribbons today.
That's true. I guess, I mean, like even within Miller's line of products, like I think, isn't it like Miller Ice would be the worst, then Miller High Life, then probably Miller Lite, and then like Miller Genuine Draft, maybe.
MGD. I
MGD
don't
is
know,
pretty
man.
good.
Miller High Life, man. I don't know. I mean, it's one of the ones that you can get in a 40. So anything that you can get in a 40 is
Example, perfect.
typically.
I mean, that proves my point. If you can get it in a
Yeah.
40, it's low level.
Worst of all, it comes in a clear 40, which which is even worse than like a brown bottle. But man, I have had and very much enjoyed some Miller High Lifes in my life.
That's what you make your mimosas out of, right?
Yeah,
Because it's a champagne and beers. So you mix it with
champagne and
orange
beers.
juice.
You get High
Yeah.
Life and orange juice. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I've really not had it that much. I had a few in college, I think, probably a few
Mm-hmm.
shortly after college. But it just wasn't the one that we had. So I'll
What
need to
was
try
it
it
the
again.
one you had? What did people drink at JMU?
Keystone was the big one. Keystone Light was like
Keystone.
we had discovered it. I know it wasn't good. That was right when like craft brewing was just kind of starting to take off. You could find 6-packs in stores of like Newcastle and Sierra Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get those now and then. And even back then, I had a discriminating palate. I knew they were better, but they were expensive. It was $6 for a 6-pack of the Newcastle, and that was
Versus
steep.
like probably $3 for a 6-pack of.
Oh yeah, right. For sure,
Keystone.
if that much. And we only got it by the case. I did get MGD now and then, though. We would splurge for the MGD, the big gold 24-pack or whatever it was, and that'd be pretty good. Anyway, back to the article. So champagne, of course, protected name. You can't call your wine champagne in this country, right? You can't sell wine, call it champagne. You have to call it sparkling wine, and that's just they're just protecting that designation of origin. So I never really thought of this before, but they continue to sell Miller High Life here without any problem. So I guess you can call it the champagne of beers because you're not kind of pretending this is champagne. But in this article, Belgian customs, they crushed more than 2,000 cans of Miller High Life that had that written on it. And that was at the request of the trade body defending the interests of houses and growers of the northeastern French sparkling wine. So it's as if, I guess, selling it here is a problem, but back there, they're just not going to have
it. I don't know. I mean, so who says you can't label a wine champagne? Like who's the governing body over that? Obviously, Champagne France has that rule, right? But like,
right.
why can't I
and
grow
the
a
EU,
backyard?
certainly the EU has that
The
rule.
EU has that rule, yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question. Why? Well, there's international trademark, right? Like, if there's a U.S. trademark, you can't go to Japan and start selling that product.
That's true.
That trademark.
That's true.
So somehow there's a body above all that governs it. I have no idea what it is. Interplanetary something.
Intergalactic planetary.
So this sounds like sort of a Boston Tea Party, but reverse. They just dumped it into the harbor. They took the stuff they don't want it imported, not going to pay the tax or whatever, and dump it in the harbor, which they didn't do here. They didn't dump it in the harbor, but they did dump it out. They crushed the cans, and that seems to be the end of it. They don't care that
at least throw a party with it,
Right. Yeah. Something.
I feel like, isn't there a style of a beer that's like champagne-esque?
The Brut IPAs.
Brut, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I don't know. I thought this was kind of funny.
It is fun. I always like a good food dust up.
Uh-huh.
All right, on to some news today. Just a quick little weather report. Nothing too fantastic today. Aubrey Plaza, who we know is star of one of the 2 TV shows that I ever watch, Parks and Recreation, which is modeled after Doug's local government career. She's at the center of, this is from Veg News, center of Big Dairy's new Wood Milk campaign. There's a picture of her, Doug. I don't know if you can pull that link up easily on the fly, but she's wearing a shirt that says "Got Wood." And so I saw this and I thought this is going to be some sort of erectile dysfunction thing or something like that. I just couldn't figure it out. Turns out they're making, the joke is like, there's a new milk made from wood, as if like, what are they going to make wood milk out of next, right? We did it from oats and soy and all this other stuff. So it would be ridiculous if they would do that with wood. And I guess they're saying that's how ridiculous it is that we're doing it with these other things. So
did you watch the commercials?
No, I didn't see a link to do that. I didn't know if there were video commercials.
Oh, there are, and let me see if I can find them real quick. Someone shared them in the Discord.
Okay,
they're pretty funny.
I need to get in that Discord. I didn't even go in there yesterday to see what the question was for us.
Man, you got to get in there.
Well,
buddy.
I've been doing this fast. I've been doing different stuff.
All right. Why don't you do the next one? We'll come back to this one.
Okay. Well, the rest of this, there's only a little bit more. Of course, they want to send the message that only dairy milk is real milk. They're also planting trees, 10,000 trees, Doug, one tree planted. And, I don't know. It doesn't sound like that many trees. Isn't it like $1 each to plant a new tree or something like that? So it doesn't sound like such a great campaign to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the silk thing with the fake mustaches, the milk mustaches with the kids of the people who were doing the old milk campaigns. I think that's a little better than this. This is weak. I like Aubrey Plaza. I like her in Parks and Rec. Don't really know much about her otherwise, but it's a shame.
I think she's hilarious. I like her a lot too. And this, I mean, honestly, the commercial is kind of funny. I liked the commercial. I hate the message, but I thought it was kind of a creative ad campaign.
Okay, you have it. You're gonna
Yeah, I got it.
Unplug my thing. Okay,
you gonna unplug the thing?
Yep, go and play.
Ready?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Aubrey Plaza. You know me as an actress, but I'm also the co-founder of Wood Milk, the world's first and only milk made from wood. Wood Milk started with a simple idea. I saw a tree and I asked myself, can I drink this? As it turns out, the answer is yes, if you make it into milk. Here at Wood Milk Orchards, we grow our trees the old-fashioned way, right out of the ground. And we're certain our eco-friendly, artisanal, free-range wood milk will be the only milk you'll want to drink for the rest of your life. Why?
All right,
because
we
you're
don't need
thirsty.
to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's good. It's a good ad.
But yeah,
why is she doing that? I mean, like,
why is she doing that? Right? I mean, why is she doing that? Why is any celebrity now like throwing their name behind milk?
Right. I don't know. I do not understand it.
Like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. The age of the milk is long gone.
Yeah, I think it's true. More so really than the age of meat to me. There's a lot of people who are into meat and diets that are into meat, but like no one is still saying dairy is really healthy. I mean, people are saying, I know, different animals' milks perhaps in smaller quantities, but like no one thinks dairy is healthy for you anymore. So
people are pushing the like raw unpasteurized milk and stuff like that. But what's happening here is very different. I don't know why anyone would do that. I mean, obviously money, I would imagine, but yeah, it seems unnecessary for her to do that and disappointing because I like her a lot. But
will you step down from your local government post in protest? Parks and Rec kind of thing?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Good. All right. So that's that one. The other one, this is kind of exciting to me, Doug. You were probably the only person in history, the first person in history to wear ever a 3D printed fish as your Halloween costume, to be a fillet of 3D printed fish. So that's kind of a cool, noteworthy thing. Well, what's happening now, they're actually making that, but they're making it from cultivated fish. We knew already they were making 3D printed fish. They've now they're mixing both things, not just 3D printed, not just cultivated, where it's actually grown from real fish cells. But the world's first 3D bioprinted cultivated fish product has been made. It's been made by Stakeholder Foods. That's STEAK Holder Foods. Anyway, so they've done it. They partnered with a company called Umami Meats that actually is doing the cultivated meat growing, and then Stakeholder, they have the technology for 3D printing, and they've done this with other stuff. They've printed like steaks and things like that from plant-based ingredients, and we've talked about them a little bit. I have not tried any, but they're one of those ones that's in that game. So anyway, it's happening. They hosted a tasting at its Israel facilities, and they had a grouper fish chef's table, they called it. The company chef did it, and the CEO Mihir Pershad said, in this first tasting, we showcased a cultivated product that flakes, tastes, and melts in your mouth exactly like excellent fish should. I'm kind of excited for this, believe it or not. I think I don't know. I'm how I'm kind of against the plant-based meats these days. I worry that they're not healthy, that the textured protein, especially just in general, 3D printing of these proteins, it just seems weird. So I worry about, like, sure, in the short term, it's fine. There's not going to be any damage, and you get the benefits over eating meat. I just worry, like, what happens if down the road we find out that was really bad? And often when we get this high tech on food, like, there's not really any high tech food that's good for you, right? So far, none have been good for you. They all end up being bad. So I don't know why we think this is really any different. What about cultivated meat, though? Do you think? I mean, that's the highest of high tech,
right?
But it also, in a way, is starting to get back to the real thing. They're actually growing the meat from cells. You think it's going to be healthier? Like, if you were going to pick one of these and say, that's going to be a basis of my diet for the next 20 years and my kids, which one would you think is better for them to eat?
I mean, what are we talking when we talk about plant-based meat? What are we talking about? Are we talking about Beyond Burgers?
Yeah, like the higher tech ones like that. Not like tofurkey, which I think is still pretty good.
I don't know. I would probably still lean in on the plant-based meats. I understand what you're saying, what you're getting at with the cultivated meat, and I'm super intrigued by the cultivated meat. Don't get me wrong, but until they can start eliminating all the bad stuff in meat, it still has all that bad stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So that's a good nuance. I was more thinking, because in the context of fish here, right? Like, I am of the belief that eating a couple servings of fish a week or bivalves, that would be beneficial to most people's health, even if you're a vegan. I think it's not going to make you less healthy. It will make you probably more healthy. And I only say that because it's what's recommended by a lot of longevity people. So I don't know. I think, so I'm thinking more like, if you were going to start eating meat a few times a week,
yeah,
would it be a good thing to get it from this cultivated meat, or is that going to come with all these dangers? Not like, and I don't mean the downsides of eating meat, because here I'm thinking of that meat as a positive in that small amount.
Okay. So you're not talking about the negative benefits of the meat. You're talking about the science part of it.
The scariness, of cultivated meat. Like, is that way worse than my fears around plant-based meat? You know what I mean? Like, is that just because it's so Frankenstein? Or is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I mean, so if we're taking out the nutritional value of the plant-based versus the animal meat, cultivated animal meat, and just looking at the processing of it, then I think you're probably right. I mean, I think that probably the cultivated meat is less scary long term than some of highly processed stuff that we're getting with the plant-based meats.
Yeah, I think that's where I come out as well. But I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, cultivate, right? It's just like, what if we found that whatever they're doing to grow cells, it turns out that if you eat that same process, it's terrible.
It starts growing cells inside of you, and you become a fish. I mean, like 3 years in, you got gills coming out of your
exactly.
Ears,
Yeah, I'm just saying, it just seems like a bigger jump to get doing that than it is to do the texturizing of protein, which worries me.
Definitely.
So I don't know. I have the sense that the cultivated meat is the healthier choice long term, but
I think you're not really sticking to your taking the nutrients out of it side. Taking the nutrients, because like what's so wrong with plant-based meat? Tell me what's wrong with plant-based meat.
My biggest concern with the plant-based meat is the textured vegetable protein that you are eating large.
That process, or that process of getting the textured vegetable protein?
That doing that creates a food that is your body does not handle well, and maybe causes cancer or something down the road. I think with textured TVP is this textured vegetable protein, and they're not calling this stuff that. Usually they call it textured pea protein or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's the same as textured vegetable protein. That stuff has had its share of controversy in the past. Think about cancer risk. So that's my concern. And so the 3D printing, now in this case, we're also talking about 3D printing cultivated meat, and maybe that's its own issue. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Just high-tech food, generally not a good thing at all. So
yeah.
I guess my question is, does cultivated meat skirt that problem by getting back to nature, because it's not really manufacturing as much as growing the food in a natural way? I mean, oddly, a natural way.
All right, so take the ethics out of it.
Yeah, the ethics are totally out of it.
But if you take the ethics out of it, do you think it'd be better to eat a cultivated fish or a fish you caught in the lake?
Well, if it's actually one that you caught and you did it in the right place, probably that's better. But I think with all the issues that go with that. You can't just go get fish somewhere and expect it to be healthy. It's going to have all kinds of junk in it, right? You have to get good, whatever good is. I don't even know, but a wild caught, I guess. And even then you got heavy metals and stuff to deal with. So
and plastics and stuff like that.
Right. And they can get rid of that in this cultivated. They could probably avoid any of those issues, I would assume.
Right.
Unless they start putting that in just to make it really authentic. Add a little mercury in or something.
Just a hint of Mountain Dew bottle.
It's like the thing Steven shared in Discord the other day, the Onion article about that they were saying they were growing the soybeans in it's not even funny. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also sort of terrible. Growing soybeans in like cramped and dark conditions to make it like really authentic plant-based meat that was just like the real thing. Just growing with the same cruelty.
Yeah, not funny, Matt.
No, I mean, but it's a good commentary on the
situation. Good. It is very good commentary.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from that question, which is not really a hypothetical. It's going to be really the decision could be making soon. So we'll see. And don't forget, neither of those is static. Both of those industries are dynamic and getting better and improving, hopefully. So the current state of either one is not what the next 20 years will be.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anyway, plant-based meat burgers might be using mushrooms more than.
Definitely. And that'd be great. If it got back to being vegetable, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I said the thing about fish, by the way, my main thing about the fish and the health of that, I think for older adults getting more protein, you can get that from protein powders. And the DHA and EPA, that's my big concern. It's hard to get a lot of that. And we've got the omega complex. In addition to what's in regular complement, we also make an omega complex product that I take to make sure that we get what we can of DHA and EPA. But it's hard to get enough on a plant-based diet. So that's the thinking, I think, why people say 2 or 3 servings a week, particularly Dr. Longo, who does this fasting mimicking diet that I am doing right now, the 1 week version of it. But his like actual longevity diet is basically a vegan diet plus I think 2 or 3 servings of fish a week and more as you age. But anyway, that's where that thinking comes from. I guess I should back off that. Like, I'm not convinced that is healthier than a plant-based diet. I don't think it's less healthy, but I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, let's go. European food sales stats.
Yes. What could be more exciting than that? And then we've got another article about inflation and changing food sales or changing produce sales. So we'll try to keep this surface level and not go too deep. I don't want to get too deep into the numbers. But interesting stuff. I'll talk about a little bit about this one, Doug, and then you can kind of present the other.
Okay.
This is from PlantBased News. It's a week or so old.
I'm gonna share the link. I'm not gonna display it, but I'm gonna share the link in YouTube if anyone wants to.
Great. All right. And so what the headline is that the plant-based food sales, and when we say plant-based foods, I know, Doug, this is your pet peeve. We're really only talking about plant-based versions of non-plant foods. So plant milk, plant meat, plant cheese. These are plant-based foods. Not talking about produce, which would be the other article. But they're saying 22% increase in sales since 2020 in the entire plant-based food category across 13 European nations. So I guess we're talking about since the end of 2020, which would be just kind of post the major COVID boom of that stuff, I think. But I'm not sure if this includes 2020 or not. But anyway, vegan meat was the major contributor, dairy-free cheese and vegan seafood products as well. They're still a small contributor to the vegan seafood, but major growth there. And this happened, of course, you got to talk about it in context of inflation. I don't know what the inflation has been during that exact period. It doesn't sound like a huge amount of growth once you talk about annual inflation over 2 or 3 years, depending on what we're talking about here.
Right.
So not a ton of growth, but some. But what actually does make this sound significant then is that some animal protein categories experienced reduced sales figures during the same period. And let me see if I can find the exact amounts. Vegan meat products saw a 21% increase in unit sales from 2020 to 2022. Plant milk garnered a 20% uptick. This is their exact words from PlantBased News. But during that same period, animal-based meat and milk sales dropped by 8% and 9% respectively. So that's pretty serious, right? Like that means despite inflation, I don't know. I assume Europe is experiencing some of the same inflation we are. I'm not really sure. But that's a way different. They are. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 20% growth in one category compared to 8 or 9% drop in the other, inflation or not, that's a big difference. That would imply that
that plant milk sales are taking away sales from animal milk, or at least people are not drinking animal milk anymore at the same rate.
Right. Now, it'd be nice if we knew the sizes of these total industries, and we could get that with any amount of research at all. But like plant meat being growing by 20%, that doesn't mean that more than covers the 8% that animal-based meat dropped, right? Because plant meat is so small compared to regular meat still, I'm sure. I don't know what it is, 3-5% of that category. That a 20% increase there is probably only a 1% decrease in the other, or equivalent to a 1% of the other category. Right. So people are ditching the animal meat by 8 or 9%. Some tiny fraction of that is going into plant meats. Where's the rest going? Maybe into vegetables? I don't know. No idea.
Or maybe just people are buying less meat.
That certainly could be. Maybe. But they got to get more their calories somewhere. So maybe not. Or just eating less. Maybe getting healthier as a population. Doubt it. So anyway, I think it's this is a significant thing. I mean, it says people are switching. I don't think we see these kinds of numbers in the U.S. or we have been, and this matches really what the vibe that I get right from all these stories we have about European growth, expansion of plant-based options like these in fast food restaurants, grocery stores. The advertising, there just seems to be a much greater acceptance in Europe of these alternatives than there is in the United States. So very different story over there than here. But glad to have these numbers because I will, next time I see some United States numbers, be good to compare to this.
Yeah, definitely. So the other article is U.S. numbers. So my big thing with any of these plant-based reports on plant-based food sales, like you called out, is that they're talking about processed foods that are, vegan cheeses, vegan milks, vegan meats. What I really want to know is, are people eating more vegetables, right? Like how has that impacted? Because most vegans aren't getting 100% of their calories from these alternatives, right? They're replacing a lot of their meat, like you said, with beans or lentils or whatever, tofu. I want to know what's happening with that. So the second article is from the Food and Beverage Insider. I don't know, this magazine website. And it is looking at produce sales year over year. So produce sales remain elevated compared to 2019, but higher prices are shifting how customers stock up on their fruits and vegetables. The produce department saw a sale growth of 4.8% to reach $74.5 billion in 2002, according to the Food Industry Association's Power of Produce. But what is kind of interesting here, in my opinion, is that while sales went up, it's basically all attributed to inflation. And that on a per pound basis, 4.2% decrease per pounds in produce sold overall. So people are spending more on vegetables, up almost 5%, but buying less of them.
Right. But is it not that much, or is it no? I mean, so I guess I was thinking those things cancel out. They kind of don't in terms of less. People are, no matter how you look at it, people are eating 4.2% less. I mean, assuming they're eating the food they're buying, they're eating 4.2% less this fresh produce than they were before. I mean, could it be that they're just buying it not in fresh? That they're getting it from the frozen section, or is that does that count?
Yeah, so there is a little bit of that. Fresh fruit sales led growth by 6.8 blah blah blah. Fresh 6.8% increase for fresh fruit, which isn't all that surprising. I imagine the inflation of fruit kind of went up. And then oh man, I didn't put this in my notes. There's something about let me see. Notably, the report also indicates that such trends as a drop in organic produce sales and increased consumer interest in canned and frozen produce options. So,
so switch.
Organic went down, likely due to inflation, but that canned and frozen produce went up.
Okay. So this is an interesting question for me, and maybe you have the answer. It says the organic produce category, which has welcomed steady growth since 2018, saw a 2.5% decrease in volume, attributed at least in part to shoppers' efforts to save money. But if that decreased 2.5%, but the overall whole category decreased 4.2%. It sounds to me like on a relative basis, people are buying more organic than they used to compared to the conventional.
If the whole you're category the math guy down, here. That is a good question.
Yeah, the whole category went down almost twice as much as the organic did. So I think people are. I think that's wrong. I think they're not trying to save money. They're buying more organic. Now, if
right, because you think that the organic would have gone down 6% and
right,
non-organic 2%, and it would be
that's what
equal.
You think.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So who knows about that? It could have to do with where they're switching out. Like maybe with organic, this is very possible. Maybe when people go switch to a frozen or canned option, they, in many cases, don't get an organic version. So they're conventional, or sorry, they're switching out of their conventional foods into canned foods. But for organic, they're sometimes keeping the same ones because you can't get organic frozen of whatever you want. Like strawberries, it's not always easy to get organic frozen strawberries, so we'll just buy the fresh frozen strawberries, fresh organic strawberries. And like maybe there's not a lot of options for switching from your organic, and that could be why that preserves some of its sales a little better.
So this before we close out, I'm gonna close out with the end of this article, which to me is hyper depressing, and just signifies it, or just exemplifies how both the media, but how just most people think about produce. Even as prices climb, produce remains an important part of consumers' lifestyle as well as managing their health. Like, okay, yeah, great, that's awesome. More than 58%, more than half, 58% of Americans said they eat fresh produce at least 4 or 5 days a week. Like that is supposed to be like it remains an important part of their life. They only eat fresh produce 4 days a week.
Yeah, and only half, right? The other half,
and only half that, and then 1/3 eat fresh produce daily. Like, how depressing is that?
Yeah, I mean, it is. On the other hand, like if I had to guess at what the number was, I probably would have guessed even lower than that. Like I had the sense that people just buy frozen box meals and they just eat that, and hot dogs and hamburgers, and like that's all they eat. And I see a lot of carts, people at the stores that are buying that stuff.
Right.
But certainly that's not. That can be explained with the other 42% of people in here who don't eat it 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah.
130 daily.
My entry line would have been even as prices climb, produce remains
right
way under I don't know. It remains a scarce item in a lot of people's shopping carts.
Yeah, right. It's whatever narrative they want to put. You can just put that on there, and people buy it.
Yeah. 42% of Americans don't eat fresh produce more than 4 days a week.
Yeah, right.
Or more than 3 days a week.
Right. Yeah. And so does I wonder if counting as eating fresh, like if you just eat one apple, or if you put broccoli into your pasta, does that count as you ate it that day? It probably does, right? That's
I think so. It's fresh produce.
So
the majority of shoppers said they always or usually include fresh vegetables as part of their dinner meal. And more than 56% eat fresh fruit with breakfast. Oh, that's pretty. 56% eating fresh fruit with breakfast. That's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't add up though. I mean, that's more than. I mean, it's like more than any of these other numbers that they do for the whole day.
Yeah.
I mean, like it almost seems impossible to avoid fresh produce. Like what? I guess it just speaks to the difference, and some people's living situation, obviously, environment is so different. But like I feel like even if I were to skip, I guess I'd have to, like, if I went out to eat, I'm getting fresh produce then, right? Like if I go eat at Chipotle or something.
Well, you are, but if you just got, but if you got salsa, like a tomato salsa, pico de gallo or something, that would be fresh produce. Mm-hmm. So, I'm thinking like, all right, if you just got rice and beef and you skip the vegetables.
So I guess if you go out to McDonald's or something, you could totally avoid fresh produce.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. That's probably how they do it. They don't cook at home. Because if you're going to cook home, like you could make a frozen burger or a frozen, I guess any of that frozen stuff doesn't count. So yeah, if you're cooking from the freezer and microwaving, you're right. You avoid it that way.
Microwaving. You're making a hamburger helper. You're making pasta with red sauce and a meatball.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay.
Probably wouldn't be that hard.
No,
Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know that I eat more than 4 days of fresh. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm totally kidding.
I think I have a feeling if we did this, we would be very near. And most people listening to the show, you'd be near 100%. I think it's very hard to go a day and not have any. I think you just wouldn't.
As a vegan,
you just wouldn't have it. Yeah, as a plant-based eater, whoever's mostly plant-based person who's watching the show. I mean, there's just almost no way you'd get even to lunchtime without having some fresh produce.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I have fresh produce every day before breakfast. I mean, before lunch.
Good. All right. All right. We did not get to the healthiest Trader Joe's frozen meal, which is where that thing that you mentioned, something like it at least was. Yep. So we'll get there. That's a good example of. I mean, those are healthy foods that wouldn't be fresh produce, and I guess you can eat a lot of frozen and canned produce, and you're still eating produce. So it's not that you can't be healthy without eating fresh stuff. It's just not as good, really, mostly. All right, so that is it. Anything else to check in here? I saw some votes. People tended to vote for cultivated over the non-cultivated varieties of meat or plant meats. So I guess it's good because we're all in agreement there. Someone has a Sid Garza-Homan quote here. Breastfeeding from a cow, when we're talking about dairy, saying who still eats dairy. And then Steven joined us late. So yeah, good stuff. All right, I'm gonna get that Discord today. You should too. NoMeatAthlete.com/Discord. There's lots of activity always over there. Recipes and things like that shared. Plus race updates and all that. So I need to go in there and congratulate people on their race results.
Yeah, you do. And you might have noticed, if you're on YouTube, you might have noticed that the name of the YouTube channel has changed. We're gonna be doing some updates around there, kind of rebranding it Plant-Based Morning Show. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, do that little notification bell thing. We're going to be putting some more effort into this, trying to grow the show, and hope that you can help us do that.
Yes. Good. Very nice work, Doug. Already changing the logo and name over. I like that. Good. Now I need to do my part. The things that I said I was going to do.
That's right. You do.
All right.
And there's more coming. More on my part too.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. I'll be on day 4 of my cleanse. Maybe my words will be a little harder to come by. What's the word for that, Doug? The words are harder to summon forth. Okay, it's already happening.
I think it's official.
We'll see. Usually by day 5, though, I'm good. Usually by day 5, I have great insights, clear-headed thinking. Yeah. It's like after any fast or whatever people do that is hard for a little while, and then suddenly you get great clarity. So we'll see.
we'll see how that works for you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming, everybody. See you, Steven and Jill and everybody else. All right.